Good morning, everyone. We had another great night in the rooftop tent. Let's take a peek out of here, see what the day has in store for us. Beautiful. We've got 20 or 25 miles of driving to do on dirt roads first thing this morning, so let's pack up and hit the road. Well, this is one of the more remarkable places I've stumbled across recently. And I say stumbled across because this whole day is basically just me exploring areas that I saw on a map that I haven't been to and I wanted to check out. So that road that I just drove between camp and here, absolutely incredible. One of the coolest drives I think I've done recently because it was so unexpected. Like, I just saw it on a map and decided to drive it. I didn't know it would be that cool. Those amazing badlands, the canyons, the rock formations. That was just remarkable. And so at this spot, we're sort of at the very edge, the very tip of this mesa that sticks out. Down below, that is the Green River. This river starts in the Wind River Range in Wyoming, flows through Wyoming, through Utah. I think it even goes through Colorado a little bit, but it joins the Colorado River in, I think, Canyonlands National Park, farther to the south of here, kind of closer to Moab. And I wanted to come here because, again, I hadn't been here before and I wanted to check out the river. This spot on the river down below me is a popular boat launch site. It's called Sandwash Boat Launch. And on top of the mesa here, there's an airstrip. And apparently during boating season, small airplanes will fly from Green River, Utah, which is to the south of here, land on this mesa, land on this little airstrip, and then hike down to the boat launch. The people, the rafters will hike down to the boat launch there. And if we zoom on in to where this dirt road meets the river, we can see some facilities down there. That is the boat launch. There are apparently a couple of little cabins you can rent for, I think, $28 a night is what I saw. Some bathrooms, campground, I think. There's, looks like one vehicle parked down there. And there's the river. What an epic landscape. And then the trail that leads down to the airstrip starts basically from where I parked here. There's a little sign that says Sandwash Airstrip Hiking Trail. And the airstrip itself, I drove past it, not much to say about it, is over here, and you can maybe see that little windsock right there. The plan now is to backtrack a little bit. We're gonna drive down to the river, to the boat launch. Again, I kind of just wanna check it out and see what it's like and you know, possibly plan future adventures from here. This boat launch is the main launching point for Desolation Canyon. That is a very popular, kind of famous floating trip in this part of Utah. Starts here, and it's a 4 or 5 day rafting trip down through the gorge, through the canyon here. And I think it's like 70 or 80 miles, and it's supposed to be like a world-class rafting trip. So maybe in the future we'll do that, but first, let's just hop back in the car and drive down there. Okay guys, a little bit of a change of plans, and it's a small world because out here in the middle of absolutely nowhere, I ran into a subscriber. He's driving a Suburban from Suboverland, which is a company that I'm familiar with, that I've shown on the channel a bunch of times. And as I was driving back to leave this area, he was kind of pulling out, and he came out of his car with an SUV RVing shirt on. And so we've been chatting for the last, I don't know, half an hour or so, and you know, going through his setup. And he doesn't want to be on camera. His name is Hunter. He's from Roosevelt, Utah, which is just kind of in the basin over that way. And so I'm going to show you his setup, and it's a really cool setup. I think you guys will like it. So we have here a 2000 Suburban. He's had this for about 5 years. He bought it from Grady at Suboverland. And it has about 280,000 miles on it. He's put about 100,000 of those miles on himself. And he said it's a super reliable vehicle. We'll take a look in the back here. So this is his sleeping setup. He has the plywood platform here, 4-inch mattress, sleeping bag. This bin right here is his chuck box with all of his food and everything in it. Got his water jug right there. If we come over on this side, this is the battery and inverter and everything. He's got a remote control rock crawler right there. Cargo box on top. Solar panel right there. Light bar right there. And then coming around to the other side, we have a big 180-degree awning right there that is apparently super easy to set up, and Hunter really likes it. This one's by Ironman 4x4. And then it's got a little table here, camp chair, and then this is looking back in from the other side. And then one thing that I thought was interesting, he has between the cargo box and the awning, he has this rack here full of firewood at the moment, and that's actually a hitch basket or a hitch carrier that he's just bolted on to fit the space between the awning and the cargo box. And then he's got bug screens on the side windows here, held in place with magnets along the side. Also a bug screen in the back window. And then in here, he's got his emergency gear and recovery gear in that drawer that pulls out. On this side, just miscellaneous camping gear. Overall, really great setup, very off-road capable. These things have a large fuel tank. They don't get amazing gas mileage, better than the Land Cruiser over there, but they get like 15 miles per gallon. But with that huge gas tank, he can cover you know, several hundred miles. But yeah, super cool setup. But we're gonna let Hunter get back to his adventures, and we're gonna continue on along the top of this mesa here, then hang a right, go down in the canyon, back down to the river. Okay guys, welcome to the Sandwash boat launch. Once again, a beautiful area. The river, the Green River, is right down there. There are a couple of people down there with their truck. I think they're unloading to do a rafting trip. And there's not a ton here. There are some pit toilets And there are a couple of very basic cabins. We'll see some of those in a minute. There is a ranger here who I think, I saw a sign saying that the ranger residence was over here somewhere, but you can't really see it from here. But there are some old log cabins and other historic structures here that I wanted to check out and show you guys. So back in the 1920s, a guy set up a ferry here, and these are the buildings of his little operation. And he was ferrying primarily sheep between their winter and summer ranges. They had to cross the river for that, so he set up a ferry, and this is basically what's left. I don't know how high this would have been, how tall this would have been, you know, initially, because apparently every year the river would flood and bring silt with it. And so every year the interior ceiling height of these buildings would get a little bit lower as they filled with sand. This one on the right is obviously still high enough to stand in. Huh. Still in pretty decent shape for being over 100 years old. I'm guessing that, you know, these are relatively new to help prop up the ceiling, but otherwise looks to be in good shape. And then the second one, I don't know if this was used for storage or if this really was the height of a normal building and it really has filled in that much. I mean, I imagine that if it were used just for storage, that there wouldn't be windows on it, but I don't know. Looks like this was a door at some point. So yeah, this must have been a full height building that's just been buried. I wonder why the other one hasn't been buried. Huh. And then across the way, there's a more modern cabin. This is one of the cabins that you can rent out, and calling it a cabin is a little bit generous, I think. There's nothing really inside. I think this is basically a place where you can maybe set up your tent inside, maybe roll out your sleeping bag, and then have a place that's protected from the bugs. There's a little bit of I guess half of a picnic table in there. And when I was looking at the BLM website, if I remember right, these were $28 a night to rent out. And there's a picnic table and a little grill and fire pit right there. And it looks like there are a handful of campsites and cabins to choose from. And then here we are down at water level. This is the Green River. This is the river that John Wesley Powell floated down en route to the Grand Canyon on the first descent of the Colorado River through the Grand Canyon. He started in Green River, Wyoming, which is over this way, at a place called Expedition Island. And there's a group getting ready for their own expedition right there, blowing up their little raft to float through Desolation Canyon. Cool area. This kind of feels like the end of the world, and I'm here for it. Because this is super remote country. It's about a 25-mile drive on dirt roads to get here, and then once you get to the paved road, it's still, you know, a ways out back to civilization. And like I said, this is sort of a scouting trip, but I'd like to come back in the future and try to climb this thing. That would be pretty epic, if it's climbable. And then back at the parking area here, from here I noticed this cave, this hole in the cliff. So let's go check that out. It looks like an old mine. Not sure what they were mining for, but it only goes back about 30 feet and then dead ends at this wall right here. But looking back, we can see the entirety of the Sandwash boat launch complex, such as it is. There's the parking area, a couple of cabins. Bathrooms are over here. Some more cabins, and then this right here is the ranger's residence. I met the ranger and chatted with him for a bit. He was on his way to go talk to the people who were getting ready to launch their boat. And he said that they're here for 8-day shifts at a time. I like that. I like the sound of that. I like the idea of being out here in the middle of nowhere, no cell signal, nothing like that, for 8 days. That would be good for the soul, be cleansing for the soul, I think. And then looking back out, there's another cave. I'm assuming it's another mine. I'm not going to go check it out, but it's right there. I've never been to Egypt. I've never been to the Valley of the Kings where the pharaohs, the ancient Egyptian pharaohs, were buried, but this feels like that kind of thing. Like when I'm here at this cave in the side of the rock and I'm looking out and seeing these other ones, I feel like I'm over there. I feel like there could be a pharaoh's tomb hidden somewhere in the mountainside. I left the river behind about 10 or 15 miles ago, and I'm on my way to the mountains. So today we're going to be experiencing a couple of extremes, you know, the desert out by the river, and then we're going to go into the mountain range that I'll show you in a second. But along the way, I was passing by this little hill and I wanted to stop and show you. While I was planning this trip a few days ago, I saw this little hill marked on the map on Google Maps as Duchesne Stonehenge. It's just this nondescript little hill with these random rock piles on top. I don't know the story of this, why these are here, why these are on this particular little hill, but I guess it was worth the stop. But what I really wanted to show you up here, in addition to this, was, again, the mountains over this way. So they're kind of hard to see, a little bit hard to see, but if we zoom on in, can you see that little, I mean, they look like clouds. There's a little line, horizontal line of white. Those are the mountains. That is the Uinta Range, the Uinta Mountains. Those are the highest mountains in Utah. They go up to about 13,500 feet, and that's where we're headed. It's the spring, and it's relatively early in the spring, and so there's still a ton of snow up in the mountains. We're not going to go as high as 13,000 feet, obviously, but I think we'll be able to drive to about 8,000 feet. And, you know, I haven't really been in the mountains this year, and I wanted to go spend some time up there, see the trees, see some water, see some snow, and should be fun. It's about 1 o'clock now. My plan is to go head back into town. Duchesne, the town of Duchesne is over here. The town of Roosevelt is over here somewhere. We're gonna go get some gas, have some lunch, and then we're gonna go find a campsite somewhere in the mountains. What an epic campsite. What a beautiful spot. What a great place to camp. As far as I can tell, I'm the only one in this entire canyon. And I actually did drive to the end of the road, which is a handful of miles up this way. There's a big dam up there and a reservoir called Upper Stillwater Reservoir. And I wanted to see how much snow was up there and just what conditions were like in general. And I took some drone footage while I was up there, so I'll show that to you here. The lake was mostly frozen, but you could tell it was starting to break up, and just really, really pretty. And man, this whole area just feels good for the soul. I love being back in the mountains. This is what I was wanting, and feels healing. It feels right. I love it. And the weather is unbelievable. It's warm, beautiful blue sky. I think that as soon as the sun drops over the mountains over there, as the sun sets, the temperature is gonna just plummet like a rock, but that's okay. Got a couple hours of daylight left. I'm gonna enjoy my time here, and this is gonna be the end of this video, but also the end of this trip. This was just a quick 3-day trip from home just to do some exploring. I was feeling antsy, and I wanted to get out and see the desert, see the mountains, and mission accomplished. Tomorrow, I'm gonna do some hiking in this area, but I'm not gonna film it, and then gonna drive back home. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed this mini adventure. Hope you enjoyed seeing a really interesting part of Utah that not too many people visit. Like where I was earlier today, down by the Green River in that area. I mean, that is just super remote, super seldomly visited, and you can feel that when you're out there. And it was really funny to meet an SUV RVing subscriber out there. I think that if I were to meet anyone, it makes sense that there's, you know, a kindred spirit out there, someone also looking for solitude and vastness and openness, and this is the kind of place where you can find that. So thanks again for watching, guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what your favorite part was. I'll see you in the next one. Be sure to check out Adventure Know-How, my new site, where you can gain access to a map of all of my free campsites, plus monthly bonus videos that you won't find anywhere else. Learn more at adventureknowhow.com. And for links to everything else SUV RVing related, visit suvrving.com. Links to these sites and more will be in the video description.